Hi, everybody. Welcome back and happy Friday. Okay, guys. So I wanted to start off by saying I hope everybody is safe after the hurricane. I saw where Elaine Hargate, who has been a part of the Addams family for so long, she came to my birthday and then flew immediately back to Texas and went 6 days without power. Elaine, I'm so sorry I haven't texted you back. Kiki is coming on right now and she will tell you I'm the worst texter ever. Everybody will tell you that I'm the worst. And I apologize. I'm an asshole and I'm trying to be better. I'm going to steal Ramona's line and say I'm a work in progress. And that's where I'm at right now. And I'm so sorry, but I'm sending all of the love and well wishes to everybody. It's just been sort of chaos over here as well. And I guess everybody's just dealing with different shit. It doesn't make anything better. So I'm just sorry. Okay. Woo! I feel better about that. Now, with that, guys, we're back to talk about the Real Housewives of Orange County last night. This franchise is coming in hot, like real hot. And I'm finally enjoying the Housewives again. But on top of that, this ridiculous Tom Sandoval, Ariana, Raquel thing, I want to talk to Kiki about that as well, because Kiki doesn't just talk about Bravo Hot Topics. She talks about a lot of the legal. So I thought that she would be the perfect person to discuss this with. So if you guys haven't already, go ahead, pop off in the comment section, smash the like button, show some love, get subscribed, and let's welcome Kiki Monique from the Talk of Shame. Hello.
Hi.
I'm happy that you're here.
I'm happy to be here. I'm not.
You look beautiful.
Well, good, because I'm a little hungover. I went out last
night. I love that most people just hide that, and you're like, no, you're like, I don't care. I'm a little hungover. It just is what it is.
I felt like I had a really fun week, and so it was like, I really wanted to see the new Twisters movie, and I love Alamo where you can like eat and drink. So I was like, just drinking some tequila, watching some tornadoes. It was fun.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I saw that you poured a whole cup of reposado.
It had 2 giant ice cubes in it, so it's it was.
Was that just for you, or were you sharing that?
Well, it was like a 30-minute ride, and I added a little Red Bull on top because I wanted to wake up.
So just to be clear, the question was, if you're on the stand, was it just for you or was it a communal reposado?
It was just for me.
Okay. Listen, live your best life. You work your ass off. So if you want to get some reposado and go watch Twister or whatever the case is, go on, girl. Go live your best life. We're all about it. And you're not hurting anybody. It's not like you're driving around and whatnot. So
no, I took an Uber. Yeah, that's what I did.
You didn't have Archie in the back of the car?
No.
Okay. Oh, God. Okay. That's fucked up. We're not doing that. But all right. So, guys, I want to ask you in the live chat first what you're going to rate last night's episode 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. And in the meantime, while we wait for you guys to come in the live chat, Kiki, I have to ask you, where are you at with this season?
Oh, I love it. I mean, I thought episode 1 was great. They came in hot, addressing the DUI right off the bat, addressing the Alexis Bellino, Johnny J situation right off the bat. And then we continued that into episode 2. So, I mean, right now they're already getting perfect 10s from me across the board. Oh, and we have an eviction, so it's like all of the most uncomfortable topics they are not shying away from. And I just feel like this cast knows how to show up for sure.
Yeah. Well, I have to say too, Emily, I'm like learning to love everybody individually for their own shit. But one thing that I learned this summer with just witnessing other productions of different shows is there's kind of like a rule of thumb. When you're filming, if you want something to land, you have to say the same thing multiple times to different people in different scenes. That way it catches the airtime. And I caught Emily and she's like, she doesn't have a house. She needs a house. She doesn't have a house. I'm like, you wanted everyone to know that this woman does not have a house right now, you shady, messy pants of a woman, but I'm all about it. I'm like, Emily, I'm digging you this season. I feel like we're seeing a lot less of Shane, but that's okay. Like I'm actually thoroughly enjoying the cast, like you said.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think Emily I would love to have her as a friend because I think she's a ride or die. She's super loyal to Gina. And in that situation with Jen, she just felt like her friend got screwed over who had vouched for her in her new career. And how dare you? And she's also seen Gina go through her whole own struggles of divorce. And she's like, I saw how you got yourself up. And I think she's annoyed by how Jen is acting. Now, in that situation, I'm sure we'll get to it. I think I felt sorry for Jen, but obviously I absolutely see Gina's point. I think Gina's delivery was a little harsh, but maybe Jen needs that, like a kick in the ass, you know?
Yeah. Well, and also Gina, the way that she handled it was slightly. Did you meet Jen at BravoCon?
I didn't. I met people on the red carpet, but I didn't really meet them. I just, like.
Yeah. Yeah, because you were busy. Like, I know I've said this before in the live, guys, but Kiki, like, camped out in the press room. Like, she was there. She was like, I feel like there was like a queen size bed in there. There was like a little mini fridge. Like, the girl was living in there. She was waiting her turn. And then she was back up on the carpet, then back sitting down, watching the car. Like, you were in it.
No,
So,
like I didn't realize that they were pretty much going to have a stream of people there all day long. So I didn't really get to do any of the things, like any of the speaking engagements or any of that, but I still had fun.
yeah, yeah, I agree with that. And, like, I think that Gina realized that this season, like Robin Dixon, everybody said for so many years that Robin Dixon is getting fired. She's getting fired. And then all of a sudden we see her sort of challenge Giselle a little bit more, like in her last seasons where she would call things out. And I think that is what she felt that the audience wanted because they were always together. I feel like so many people have told Gina, you live a very average life that we're used to, like where we live in townhomes or apartments, or we have the kids and we're trying to make ends meet. And it's not necessarily or usually why people watch Housewives. We watch for like the opulence, So she's already kind of having to work a little bit harder because of that. But then on top of that, people didn't really find her to be that interesting. And now, not everyone, Gina, not everyone, but now she's coming in and she's like, you know what you did, Jen? And why are you here with a full face of glam? Like, take care of your kids, be a mom, pay your bills. And I'm like, oh, you're really gunning for this orange right now.
But the funny part is like, while that is interesting, I think we all see the real storyline is her and Matt, because I think that part of her trying to I feel like she's glossing over what's really happening there. She's acting like my kids need more space and this is the only reason I don't want to break up. But there's something else there, because two people who are, they're both in real estate and it seems like they would make a lot of money. There's no reason they shouldn't be able to afford a house together, even in Orange County. Like, it's not like the math isn't mathing there. So I feel like it's almost, I don't know what the situation is with Matt. Maybe his ex is like taking him for a ride. And so that's where all his money is going. But there's definitely something there where I feel like Gina thinks, I don't want to take care of you. And I need to know that you can stand on your own 2 feet.
Well, see, I kind of looked at it from a different lens, but this is why I love having these conversations so we can kind of, like open each other's eyes to it. One, if this was Jason and I were in 2 separate relationships before and we both came with the Brady Bunch of kids, right? And I own my house like Gina owns her townhouse. I would rent my townhouse out, make more money off of it, where it covers not only the mortgage, but it puts a little bit of extra money in my pocket to sort of maybe take down a potential other rent that I might be doing with my fiance or boyfriend or Travis into a bigger house. I would get a bigger house, but then just rent out my other place, not sell it, and then let it pay for itself. That way I know if God forbid something ever happened with Travis, then I still have another house to fall back on. And it doesn't seem like that's what she's doing. But originally I felt like this was a storyline. I was like, this is a total... I understand that the other girl is crazy, or the other girl is being called crazy, and that she is going in on Travis and they're labeling her as so many different things and that she's just like relentless. I get that. But if it were me, I'm sticking by the person that I love. Like, if you have a crazy ex, I'm like, bring him on.
No, but I feel like your theory even adds more to my theory, because exactly like you're saying, she's in real estate. She understands how it works. She would rent out her place so that she could get a bigger place, which to me signifies he can't step up to the plate to afford the other half of the place he would need. Like, that's what it's saying to me, where it's like, even if she rented out her place, it sounds like he can't step up and afford the level of what they would need together. And so I think that she's pushing back because look, like, she's also been in a situation where she's finally has her own money, right? She was taken care of for so long, and I don't think she ever wants to lose that again. And look, what are we watching right now with Rachel Lindsay and her ex, her chiropractor ex, that she has to pay $13,000.
Which I thought that he was like money.
She has to pay this man $13,000 a month, which is wild to me. And I know that Gina isn't
for how
married.
long?
Alimony, it could go 5 years, it could go until the next marriage. It just depends on, what the situation is, what the judge orders. Like, I'm going to say at least 5 years. I don't know. And even though Gina isn't married to Matt, I don't know how long they've been together. I think that even if you're together for a certain period of time and you've elevated someone to another level, even without being married, they could also still be on the hook, So I just think that Gina's being very smart and saying, I need to know that you can stand on your feet so that if we are going to be together, this is my expectation. That's what it feels like to me.
Okay. And Tra said, where's she getting the money for another house? She definitely, with her paycheck from Real Housewives of Orange County, can afford the deposit. It's probably a $15,000, $20,000 deposit, I would imagine, in Orange County. And the only reason I say that is because Jason and I got a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 110th Street, right next to Frederick Douglass Circle, which was parallel to Columbus Circle. It was on the 6th floor, not a bougie building. I think the rent was like $2,200 a month. And our deposit was $15,700. Yeah. And that was like 3 of us, like really like ramen noodles and water for the rest of the year in order to make this happen 10 years ago. Like we were just like mucking it, trying to figure this out. But she can definitely afford that. She could afford another house, a rental at least. And
she's obviously doing pretty well. I mean, she is listed as the realtor. She was on Elizabeth Vargas's, mansion. So it's like she's getting good clientele. So, 6% of, $1 million, $8 million, however much, these sales are. I think that she's, also making that money too. So.
And watching her too, even though she had the people come in, like in this episode where she's talking to the people, you could tell that she's gotten a lot more comfortable with showings. She looks like she knows what she's talking about. She looks like she's like, okay, I'm in it, which is really, really, I hope for her. And I don't think that this would happen, but it could happen because people are crazy. Tamra Judge stepped away from real estate because people started calling Tamra just to meet her and not to see homes. So it became kind of like an aggravation for her. Like she was annoyed by it. And I hope that doesn't happen for Gina, but I also don't think that they're on the same star power as far as like.
Yeah, I think that Gina could still sell some real estate and it would be fine.
Gina, you're still fine, girl. You can go sell some real estate, but no. So she did blast Jen out for the eviction. And then another question that I have for you is, Gina said if Jen comes for her business, that they're going to have an effing problem. But Gina, one thing that I learned when I got my real estate license in LA, and guys, I worked at Rodeo Realty right next to Josh Flagg. Okay. In the Roger Perry group. It was interesting. And I was terrible at it. I remember. Did I tell you about this?
No, I haven't heard those stories.
Oh my God. So I was like, I want to be on real estate because Jason, before I met him, went out on a date with Madison from Million Dollar Listing. And I was like, if Madison can do it, I could do it. Like, I got this. No, I have so much respect for realtors. My first showing, this couple walks in, she's pregnant, and she's like, which way does the sun rise? And I was like, that's so crazy. Every morning it rises and every night it just falls. And she was like wanting to know if the sun is going to go in the primary bedroom. And I'm like, so much light. So what do you think? And she was like, we'll get back to you. And
did you ever date Flag?
Huh?
Did you ever date Flag, or did he ever hit on you?
No, I never date. Oh my God. No. Okay. He has a nasty reputation. Like, not like his reputation is not just personality. It's like also like fun time things that like a lot of people have a lot of things that they say about him. And just no. Blech. No, never.
Okay.
God, you just made me like.
Tell me how you really feel.
Yeah. No, God, no, you little hairy monster. No. But I do respect when people are really good at what they do. And getting back to it, I know that through going through real estate, you can't talk about people's personal finances, their transactions, and you can't talk about what happens with it, because then that's sort of, it's an ethics code of ethics, right?
Yeah.
So you're legitimately like fucking up the code of ethics, which is an issue. And if you're telling people that she's getting evicted, and the California Real Estate Board of whatever it was called that I was a part of that I don't remember, I was hit on the head. If they see this, they could easily just revoke your shit and be like, no.
Well, that's what, it's such an interesting line when you see these real estate or any profession, right, that has these ethics on a reality show, because you still have to have drama for reality. But like, for instance, I don't know if you're watching the new Owning Manhattan,
Yeah.
they're, they were renting this penthouse, this $250 million penthouse or whatever. And anyways, they eventually get it rented, but then the seller was anonymous and everyone in that office signed an NDA. Of course, like bloggers and everybody like went and researched and they were like, I'm pretty sure it was Bad Bunny, right? So we all assume it's Bad Bunny who rented the place, and it probably is, but they will never say that on the show because they will never like let their clients know that they would reveal that. So it's like, it is a fine line because, I know that Gina, the way she's saying it is that Emily, her friend, was checking in on her and that she also found out through these IG stories, and she's not acting like she was, spreading it. But that is, if I had a realtor that I knew was talking, I would be a little concerned too. I mean, yes, you were getting evicted and that's not great, but also, yeah, you shouldn't be spreading my financial information around to people. I was trying to figure out why the owner of the house was even CCing Gina on the emails, right? Other than her being a friend, right? And being like, look what you like got me into. But yeah, that whole situation was like a little bit icky, especially since at the end of the day, Jen really thought her ex-husband was supposed to be paying these bills. And we've all seen it when these women get out of these relationships where the men are taken care of. They've never like signed up for bank accounts. They've never had credit cards or any of these things. And so I feel bad for Jen, but she's also an adult and she's got to like figure it out. Like, yes, he's supposed to be paying these bills, but he's not. So you got to figure it out.
I had to have an honest, and I don't even care if people are like, Adam, that's so embarrassing. Like sometimes Jason gets so annoyed with me because I'm way too much of an open book, and that's okay because I have nothing to hide. But a month ago came to Jason like a 1950s housewife and was like, my dad asked me what happens if I die, to like anything that we have accumulated over our lifetime, and like, where does it go? And I said, that's a great question. But then I said to Jason, I said, actually, God forbid something happened to you tomorrow. Jason, I don't know how to pay the mortgage. I don't know how to pay like the rent I don't know how to pay, like, I don't have access to I don't have your passwords, the usernames, I don't have any of this shit. And we had to sit down and go through all of it because, like, you just don't want to live in that, like, oh my God, I don't know what's going on, and like oblivious. And sometimes it's really easy to be oblivious, but then all of a sudden when it's like fight or flight and you're like sitting there sinking and you don't know how to swim, it's like, then we got a fucking problem, because you got to swim or you better learn how to fucking float in order to get out of the situation.
And we see this all the time with housewives. Obviously we saw it with, Erica Jane, other housewives. We've seen it over the years. I will say one of the most surprising ones in recent history, though, was Kyle Richards. When she admitted on that bus, I don't know, Mauricio just be putting stuff in front of me and I just sign it. And it's like, wow, Kyle, you are a very successful woman in your own right at this point. It is surprising that like you admit that, but we just do. And it's not, it happens.
Which, by the way, I need you real quick, and I'm so sorry to do this to you. Can you just give me thoughts on Nikita?
Oh my God. I mean, we knew
no, I
was
don't
end up
know.
with someone hot. Like, I mean, I guess it's not surprising. I think is she an actress, right? So I think all of it sort of adds up and makes sense, honestly.
Yeah, she's 33. She's an actress, and
How old is Farrah? Like 32?
No, Farrah's older than. Let me think. I'm 31. Farrah's older than me for sure. I think she's like 34.
Oh, so I mean, there's something about your dad dating someone younger than you. Oof, that's got to be. And I know that's like her stepdad, but still, it's her dad.
Yeah, and we all know that Kyle somewhere is reeling over this, or she's not because she's over there.
Well, she took wife out of
Morning.
her bio today. It
Oh,
had
today
wife.
she did?
I think overnight it disappeared.
Yeah, mine would disappear too.
Yeah.
Mine would disappear and I would be getting ready to catch a charge. But that's okay. We're all different and I don't promote violence. But now back to it really quick. I did want to say I was actually very impressed with Ryan's home. If I didn't know what we're about to find out, I was like, oh my God, not Ed Hardy with a big ass, beautiful, like Orange County, Newport Beach home. And then when she said in this episode, she's like, Ryan just kind of like goes to the beach and like that's what I always say he lives like a dream life. He just makes like money. And I'm like, I don't even know how he does it. And I'm like,
when people can't answer what people do, I'm always like, red flag, red flag. I mean, she literally could like, if somebody's like, well, what does Kiki do? They'd be like, oh, she's a radio host, she's a content creator, she's a media personality. Float off the tongue, right? If you're someone you are dating, if someone asks you what they do and you can't immediately say it, it's kind of weird unless they do some weird job, right? Where you don't understand. It's like, I don't know, it's something in tech and I don't really understand it, but I know that like it involves advertising in tech, something like that. But she couldn't even, she was like, oh yeah, I think he just, goes to the beach a lot. And then when Tamra and Eddie were up at Big Bear after their motorcycle ride, and Eddie said, if you hang around liars, you're going to become a liar, talking about Jen hanging around Ryan. It's like, well, what does Eddie know about Ryan being a liar? So it's like, there's clearly been rumors happening. But then Jen goes on Watch What Happens Live and Andy asks her directly, what's the deal? And Jen says, he was best friends with this guy. He's, when this all comes out, it's going to be that he was, we're going to show, we were just best friends and we hung out with this guy. And it's like, what? That's not, I mean, we all can read a newspaper. From what we're reading, that's not, you weren't just best friends.
It kind of goes back to like the Jen Shaw was innocent. It's like you can say whatever you want, but obviously if you are mentioned, then there's more evidence against you than you were just friends or an innocent bystander as to, like what was going on, whatever the crime was. And, for this particular situation, I think that, man, I feel like Jen sort of turned a blind eye for two reasons. I think that she really cares about the guy, but I also think that Jen has a low sense of self-worth. And I think that she's a beautiful woman, an amazing mother. You watch her and meeting her in person, just the sweetest. She is so nice. And I think that she really feels like she doesn't deserve anything good that comes to her. You can tell by the way she talks to her parents, by the way that she deals with people. Even with Gina, she's like, really, Gina? That's really nasty. That's not nice. Like what you're saying is not nice. And she's like, I don't fucking care. And she's like, really, Gina, you're going to do that right now? That's way below you. But you can listen to the way that she operates and talks. Like if that would have been Tamra, she would have turned into Tamra. She would have like,
well, because I think there's people in this world who have gone through life, who have always been coddled and taken care of. And I'm not judging them. What I'm saying is their reactions and how they move through life. Look, I would love to like sometimes live in that level of delusion, honestly, because I've never been able, I've always had to like take care of myself, grind, work. But, I think I don't know how young she married her husband, but it's like, I think she's just really used to being taken care of. And when people come at her, she's just kind of like, doesn't really know how to handle it. And she just hasn't learned the life skill set in how to dig herself out of the situation, other than finding someone who can protect her and make her feel safe, whether it's her parents, whether it's a man, and I hope that, it works out for her, but, it doesn't always.
And I also feel bad because it's like, she got glam because she's trying to step it up for the show. Can she afford that? I mean, I think that
we don't know. Like she said on the thing, I'm doing these things for trade. You can literally rent the runway. It doesn't mean she's buying $1,000. Like that could literally be going back next week. Like, so I never fault people on TV for trying to look good.
I also want to say too, when Monica Garcia came in, she stayed at my home. Right. And I had glam and hair and people come from other people who are on other shows here. And they were super excited to see Monica, that they did everything for post. And that was the deal. Before they ever came, I wanted to establish what the cost was, what everything was, because things were sponsored. And I wanted to make sure, if you guys are trying to get paid, then okay, what is the pay? Because I wanted to like cross my T's, dot my I's, right? And I wanted that for her too. I didn't want her to leave and somebody to be like, you didn't pay for anything. So I was very aware and a part of all of the conversations. I actually like navigated the conversations for that reason. And when they agreed to do it for the like glam for post, I was like, oh my God, that's really sweet of you. But to your point, they could easily be doing that for Jennifer Pedranti right now on the show, not knowing, like, sometimes glam will invest themselves into a newer housewife, because if she's on season 2 and she ends up sticking around, like, look at Chris Appleton. He invested very early on into Kim Kardashian. He was a baby. She was a baby. And it grew his whole career. So it happens. People do this. And people do things in trade for promotion, especially when you have a following. So when Gina is like, you had glam, it's like, well, it could have been glam for post, which was a good point. I didn't even think about that.
And like, I will say the best comeback Jen had was like, just because like when you had your fall down, like I don't have to look as like tired as your hair did. It's like, it's like, come on, like, Gina, you had some moments and we all made fun of it. Like Jen's like, I'm already struggling, right? Like I don't need that.
She's like, my hair doesn't have to struggle too. It doesn't have, I don't have to have dead ends over here to be like, fuck, like my life is like falling apart.
Yeah.
I thought, no. I thought that was funny. And then going over to the Alexis Bellino of it all, when Alexis was like, what I would like for is to get to a better place with Shannon Bedore. And Emily's like, Shannon, isn't that Shannon? That's so nice, isn't it, Shannon? And Shannon's like, yeah, that's so nice of you. And thank you. I appreciate that. And then she's like, guys, look at my ring. We're having sex twice a day. And yes, we're going to get married. And then Shannon ends up walking away. And Tamra's like, Tamra's good with the cues. That's why Tamra, after she got fired, she knew what she should have done more, which is now stepping into the Lisa Rinna role of just being a complete instigator. And she is doing it so well. She's like, oh, Shannon walked away. Let me go. You're not a good person, Shannon. And I'm like,
I will say the problem with that, because here's the thing with Alexis and Shannon, look, it's playing out exactly how I expected to play out between someone who's dating your ex and all of, like, it's playing out. So what is going to happen? I will say the Tamra parts though, do make me go like, whoa, because Shannon had really established a friendship with Tamra outside of the show. Like they had been together on the show for so long. I truly think that Shannon considered her a very close friend. Tamra, I think she will always play up to the camera and the drama over any friendship, which I think is a dangerous place to be in with someone, because you always assume that your friends, like if I were to look at the Gina Emily, right? I don't think that Emily would ever throw Gina under the bus, vice versa, just for the show, because I think that they are really close friends. She would have a conversation with her and say, girl, just so you know, I'm going to bring this up on camera. Don't be pissed, because like it needs to be addressed. But I think she would give her a heads up. Whereas I think Tamra is blindsiding the fuck out of Shannon at every turn. And she's like, what is happening? She literally told her she was not a good person. Like, can you imagine hearing that from your best friend, former best friend, and then she goes and sits next to your enemy?
To be fair, I do want to say this. I had a conversation with somebody who used to be on the Real Housewives of Orange County, who I'm not going to name, so you guys can guess all you want. I'm not going to confirm anything. And Shannon Bedore and Vicky Gumbelson had a real issue with Tamra Judge at BravoCon. They felt like she was that she had an ego. They felt like she had an ego. They felt like she was walking around. And if you guys saw, and I say this, and people always give me shit about Teddi Mellencamp, which is like the most annoying thing at this point, because I tried to have a conversation with Teddi. Teddi ran in her own suite. So that's a Teddi problem, not an Adam problem. Teddy is like a keyboard warrior where she's like, I think this, and this, and these people should do this better. And that's what would make them good housewives. Girl, you can't give advice on being a great housewife when you failed and you got fired. So I never understand Teddy's perspective or stance on anything. I just think it's like the biggest hypocrisy ever. But when I watched Teddy, when she was around Tamra, it was like, oh, hi. It was like Princess Diana. Then the moment that Tamra had to go do something else, like press, and Teddy was standing by herself in a green room or anywhere else, she sat there because she knew that she talked shit about all of the other housewives and all of the other people in that room. And she sat there so uncomfortable, like looking around, and I'm like, oh, you don't got it like that, do you? You like to pretend when you got her over there that you can handle this. You can't handle this. She gives you confidence. I get it. But Tamra did have an extra level of confidence. I don't know if it was maybe some tequila or some vodka, or maybe it was nothing and it's just natural confidence, but she had a confidence, and it was like,
well, I think that Tamra, like, because of her reactions to things, I think she gets that confidence because she knows if someone goes against her, she is going to rip them a new one. And most people don't want to engage in that level of like a go up against her, you know, like if you create yourself as a person that people don't want to go up against, it's, of course, it's like way easy to have like confidence and ego, you know?
But then it's also almost like Housewives 101. When you get a new housewife and they come into the Real Housewives of New Jersey and they think, oh, Teresa is like the big bad dog and I'm going to come in and try to take her down. And then you fail and you like go at her. But then she doesn't want to film with you the next season and the network is more invested in her and the ad dollars are more invested in her. Then you lose your job. And I think that people are more aware now of that and nobody's going to go against Tamra. But also moving on from this point, when she was discussing the potentially getting married and the how many times they have sex and the promise ring, and Heather Dubrow said, you know, I think that there were moments of this that were a little bit tasteless. I looked at it too in the same way, like, man, I couldn't imagine, and I know you're filming a TV show, and I know it's good for TV, Alexis, but if I sat there and I was no longer with Jason and I'm filming a show with 6 other people and now Jason is dating one of them and they're talking about getting married and maybe they're going to start a family one day and all of this stuff. I don't want to sit there and listen to that. And you talking about that in front of me, you know, it's mean. You know, it's mean. It's awful. You know, I had there's a history here. We woke up together. We slept together. We planned futures together. We did things together. There's nothing nice about what you're doing. And so if I give you a reaction and you don't like it after you're sitting there throwing that shit in my face and you're like, oh, you should be over it. You're saying I should be over it. I'm not on your time. I'll be over it when I want to be over it.
And that's the thing too, because I can tell Shannon is at this crossroads of like, she's going to show up to do her job. She cannot stand this woman. She's going to engage with her in the level she needs to keep her job. But she also doesn't actually want to keep making her relevant. So she's like, I don't really want to share the screen with her that much. Like, you know, when Heather asked her at that dinner, like Heather's like, well, should I just not be invited to places? And she's like, I'm not telling you that's what you need to do. I'm just saying that's what I would do. And it's more because like, I just don't think that she's like, you know, Shannon's like, I'm the star of the show. She hasn't been here for 10 years. And so I don't want to give her more relevancy. And so I think that's where she struggles because at the end of the day, like, we need it. Like, we need to see this interaction because, hello, like, she's dating your ex. And it's, you know.
And when Shannon, oh, God. Yeah. When Heather Dubrow, another favorite moment that I had was, I don't want an apology from you. I want you to say that you trust that I'm not going to sit here and be a bad friend. And like Shannon was like, you need to, you know, like that takes time, Heather. Like I need you to, pretty much she's saying, I need you to prove that to me. And I'm like, Shannon, you have no allies right now. Sit down, shut up. Like just something, you like collect your allies right now. Collect your allies, sit back and then attack them later. Right now, you are on an island.
It's true, but I also was trying to figure out how authentic Heather was being in that moment, because we've seen her and Shannon pretty much going at it since I don't even know what season. It's like I know that they come
Get
back
out!
or whatever, but for the I'm saying you kicked her out of her house. I know that Heather was saying that. I also just feel like Shannon also wasn't really believing it was authentic because she knows their history, but at that moment, of course, she should have probably just tried to accept the olive branch and seen, how it played out. But
yeah. Oif. All right. So moving on from that point, Katie. I love her.
Mm-hmm.
I love her. I think that she's perfect casting. I think she's messy. I think she's just getting her feet wet. I think she knows how to come in. She's asking the random questions that everyone's thinking. She's talking at the table and she's like, wait, what did she ask? She's like, is she a very religious woman or something like that? And it's like, she's like, I don't fucking know if she's religious. I don't know what she's got going on. She's like, oh, okay. And I didn't really understand her tagline for
what is it again?
It was something like, people are green with envy because something par for the course. I don't know.
Okay.
It was just something about being on the green. And I didn't get it, but I didn't realize that her and her husband were both former reporters for PGA and golf.
Golfing,
Like
yeah.
that makes sense, because over where I'm about to go this weekend, to Hilton Head. And Hilton Head, for you guys who don't know, it's in South Carolina. It's like this little island where they kick off the PGA Tour sometimes, but it's super famous for all of like the golfers and stuff that come in. And I don't know shit about it. When people come in, they talk to me and they're like, what do you think about hole 17? And I'm like, bitch, I married my first. I'm on hole 1. That's my husband. So I don't know hole 17. Like, oh my God, hole 17. Like, you guys are hoes. Like, I don't know what they're talking about, But when she's talking about it, I'm like, oh, okay. So your tagline makes a lot more sense than what it did now that I know why it makes sense. But okay. Okay.
Yeah. No, okay. And I think Katie, I just love her backstory. And I'm really glad that they dove into this episode, because her having kind of like 3 teenage/adult children before she even married her current husband is amazing. She has this younger child now, and then to find out, one's living with the dad, one is still living in San Diego to finish school, one lives there. It doesn't look like she's going to college. It looks like she's going to maybe take a year off, or maybe she's a guy, I don't know, but she's like, I think her whole kind of backstory is really interesting. And so I hope we get to explore more of that. And I hope for her sake, because we can tell it's edging into like some sort of showdown with her and Heather, right? She's saying, this is the first time Heather's acknowledged me. Like, I've met her through Sutton. So what I hope doesn't happen is the season becomes about like this weird snub between her and Heather, because then I think we're gonna end up in Esophagus 2.0, right? Like, or it's a version of this new housewife where we don't really get to know. Because unpopular opinion, I wanted Anne-Marie to come back. I thought she was interesting. I think she had a really good story. We got it lost in Esophagus. I hope the same doesn't happen with Katie, and we really get to like learn about her and she gets integrated.
I hope so too. No, I mean, I agree with that. Oif. All right. I know I asked you for 40 minutes. Do you care if I run to 45? If you have to go, I'll let you go.
I can stick around.
Okay. I just wanted to go from this point. Guys, we'll in the comment section like engage more in OC, but I want to pick Kiki's mind about the Tom and Ariana lawsuit, because if you guys don't know, let me just kind of give you the backstory really quick in less than 60 seconds. Raquel Leviss came out with a lawsuit against Tom and Ariana for revenge porn, and she had to name both of them. So if you guys are not familiar with lawsuits, whenever there's multiple parties involved, even if you don't think someone is guilty of it, you have to name them in the lawsuit, because if you don't, party A can say, oh, well, no, party B was the one who ended up doing the most, like the majority of the mess. And if party B is not listed, then party A can be exonerated from the lawsuit, and then you're just kind of screwed. So you always have to name all parties that were involved in the action that led to the lawsuit. So I understood, I didn't like it, but I understood why Raquel mentioned Ariana. Now, from that point, Tom Sandoval recently filed a lawsuit per Matt Garagos who is the brother of Mark Garagos, who is also Raquel's attorney. Mark Garagos's brother, Matt, apparently reached out to Tom and said, hey, we are going to file something that it's just kind of standard practice. We have to mention Ariana, and we're going to say that she obtained the information without your authorization or permission, and we're going to lead with that. I thought it was the dumbest move with this woman who is on the rise. She is killing it on Broadway. She killed it on Dancing with the Stars. She has doubled the ratings on Love Island. Everyone loves her. And now you're going to sue her for the very thing that everyone, like, people are praising her for this come up out of, like, rising like a phoenix because of what you did to her. And now you're going to sue her. I thought it was so dumb. Then yesterday, he ended up retracting that lawsuit. Or is it retracting or redacting?
Retracting, I guess we can use. Yeah.
Yeah. Retracting that lawsuit and saying, no, I'm no longer suing her. I'm canceling the lawsuit. And I fired Matt Garagos because the way he explained it, he said that this is something that we should have done. And it didn't end up kind of being that. So I'm no longer suing Ariana. And he deactivated all of his accounts. Now he is claiming, moving forward, that Raquel pretty much brought this on herself through her carelessness and her negligence. And that the reason that she's suing him is because she went through this hard time, but really she was the one who was careless and negligent while letting herself be recorded on a screen while masturbating, which eventually turned into revenge porn. And I'm like, man, can you not sound like a bigger dick?
Here's the thing, and let me preface this with Tom Sandoval can go eat it. Like, I have absolutely like no interest in defending anything this man does. He has bad behavior. He screen recorded Raquel without her knowledge. It was on his phone. That is standard. And Ariana went on and made better of her life. And so that is where I am. However, from someone looking at this from just a legal perspective, what I also know is him filing, because what it was he filed a cross complaint. So when Raquel sued the both of them, essentially the cross complaint said, okay, if Raquel wins this lawsuit, I now want Ariana essentially to cover my legal expenses, because had it not been for her invading my privacy, I would have never been caught up in this lawsuit. Now, again, you don't have clean hands, sir, because you also screen recorded this woman. So like, let that, but what I'm saying is, as someone looking at it, I said, it's a smart move. And not from a public viewpoint, that was dumb. The reason I thought he maybe would have done it is because at that point, he had lost any credibility with the audience. He knew that if we didn't like him now, we weren't going to like him. And so he just felt like, I'm already in the gutter. My reputation can't go down anymore. I at least may try to save some money by this legal move. I do think it was a smart legal move. I think that he just couldn't take the heat and was like, now backtracking and saying like, I had no idea. My lawyer told me this is a good idea. And so I got rid of him. But the reality is, I personally think it was a good idea. Not, again, public opinion, not smart at all. From a legal perspective, I could just see it, is all I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I mean, I get what you're saying. I thought I understood too, from being involved or around lawsuits before. I understood why certain people were named and how you have to cover your ass. But I was like, in the eyes of public perception, you just effed yourself. Like, you took that nail, you just drilled it down into your coffin. When people were starting to forgive you and be like, you know what, Ariana, Raquel, move on. Let Tom live his life. He paid his dues. And now I'm like, you just totally riled the entire world up again once this like became public. So when he fired Matt Garagos, I was like, well, that's a step. It's a very smart step. Now you have to, it's going to be a long.
And he should have known that that's what was coming. So it's like, again, even though it may have been a smart thing, he should have taken his legal advice and then gone to his actual publicity team and said, okay, this may save me. Let's say it saves him $50,000 in legal fees, or I don't know, maybe there would be a settlement, right? Whatever it would have cost. Is that worth the negative publicity I'm going to get? Because again, what happened immediately? Schwartz and Standy's, their account starts getting targeted. You know, it's just the mob mentality, which again, I don't agree with that anyways, because other people work at these restaurants and hospitality, and that should not be happening. So I wish people would stop doing that, because you're not hurting Tom Sandoval, you're hurting people who need a paycheck. So like, I wish people would stop that. But what I'm saying is he should have gone to his team and they should have been like, I know that this is smart legally, but don't do it. It's not worth it, because what's going to come out is Tom is suing Ariana and you are going to be destroyed. And he should have been like, you're right, Matt, do not file this. I don't care if it's the smart thing. But he didn't do that.
Well, and also too, it's like, it's kind of playing the short game or the long game. Which one do you want to play? And you better be really fucking smart when you're in a situation like his. So you better know where you're going to go. Now, with that, guys, I asked Kiki for 40 minutes. She gave us 46. And also, this gal is busy. So we're not going to keep her forever. But for all of you guys who are watching and listening, thank you so much. And if you guys are a part of the replay crew, definitely be sure to smash that like button. Kiki, if they don't know, will you let them know where they can find everything that you're doing, since you're doing all of these exciting things like this Big Brother stuff?
Obviously, follow me on every single platform, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, at The Talk of Shame. And you can always check out my podcast, Pop Crime. I just had Rachel Yucatel on. Really good episode there. We actually talked about the Raquel situation, because obviously, you know, the whole Tiger Woods with her. So that was an interesting perspective from her. And then you can, every Monday on Radio Andy on Sirius XM, Reality Checked, you can get my analysis and recaps on the reality shows I'm watching.
I love that. I'm just trying to share everything at the same time. Like, here we go. All right, guys. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you to you, Kiki. I hope I get to see you soon.
I know.
I hate that we don't have BravoCon.
All right. Well, yeah, there's no BravoCon, but maybe we'll, you know, I don't know. Maybe we'll see each other in Utah.
I don't think I'll be going there.
Okay.
Especially not after this season.
Well, maybe I'll come to Charleston.
Come to Charleston, guys. This season of Utah, what I can say is there is a lot more to the story. It's going to be messy. It's not my fault. It's blamed on me. And you guys will see by the end of the season. Fuck me. Here we go. Okay. Here we go. You like, Kiki, I feel like after 4 years, I'm just like, fuck. Like, what am I supposed to say? Before I used to be like, oh my God, please, everybody just understand that things aren't always what they're supposed to be. I'm like, I know that this shit is about to be bad. So I'm just saying, just realize there is more and it is not what you think. And I'll explain everything. But Kiki, we love you. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. We can't wait to watch everything that you're doing. If you guys are not following her on YouTube, her podcast, or Instagram, and Radio Andy. Yeah. Radio Andy. Yeah. And then also all of the fun things that she's doing, like go check out the video of her with Big Brother promo. It's like a promo, yeah?
Well, we got to go and see the Big Brother house before the premiere and spend a day in it playing a week's worth of games. And
my God, watching you too. Like I was watching how you were like mother hen of the house and you were like telling people what to do. And like, kind of like, this is like, you were like, kind of, I was like, oh my God, Kiki, like maybe are we missing a mark? You know, it'd be so fun to take a bunch of influencers and stick them in a house together. I've said this like a few times before. Maybe you said it too, but like to stick a bunch of influencers in a house and just like let them go.
Well, that's kind of what's happening in House of Heat, except they're OnlyFans creators. And I will say, I was really enjoying like the first several episodes. It's kind of fallen off. I'm going to check out the latest episodes and see if it came back.
Yeah, I'm digging it. And I also see Vicky Harnish, Jason Appear wave something. Jason will be coming back for Anchor Watch, and he will be back onto the YouTube channel. We're looking at somewhere around end of August, just to give you guys an idea. And then everything is going to go back to normal. So don't worry, guys. I know I've kept you like pretty much in the dark about everything, but everything is getting back to normal. And we will explain later, I guess. I don't fucking know. But I love you guys. We'll see you next time. Smash the like button, get subscribed, and bye. Happy weekend. Drive safe.